And are we really live? We probably are. We are live. Actually, hold on. Let me see if I can actually arrange that to right there. Maybe doing the old jerry rigging thing that I used to do with these kind of videos. I don't care about that. Hey guys. It's been a while. It has been a while. It has been too long. Probably. I'm not sure if I like that. Okay. There's really no middle ground things there. Maybe. So we're doing it live. We're doing it live. Perfect. That'll work. Okay. So, giving this thing a shot the same way that, hey, I'm giving the whole Instagram live thing a shot. Oh, Gaps, Shock, and Horror. I forgot YouTube doesn't like it when you acknowledge that other platforms exist. Anyway, satire aside for a second here. 2018 was a year that happened, and you didn't see a whole lot of me. Probably didn't in 2017 as well, for that matter. Let's break down the why. Let's break down the why for a second. First of all, some of you, probably a lot of you, I mean, this wasn't a thing when I was last shooting videos. Yeah, I dyed my hair. You can find out a lot more of my day-to-day stuff on my Twitter, at SoulFGC on Twitter, and then at Soul_FGC on Instagram. SOLFGC. Pandering and plugs aside, let's get to the nitty-gritty of this real quick. 2018 was very a very trying year. It was a very, very trying year. As you can tell, I am once again in a new scenery, and a large portion of what I had to do was keep my nose to the grindstone at a job that I was able to actually stay with for an entire year, which is good. Consistency is important with that. The only problem is, and again, I don't usually like to talk too much about my personal matters on my social platforms. So I will just say that my major company that I currently work for, who is owned by a major grocery retail conglomerate. There's a lot of changes that are happening, and ones that I was not privy to once I started with them. You know, I got my foot into the door, taking the entry-level job as you would anywhere else, do what you will with that, and then try to make the most out of it. I've been very thankful that the opportunities that I have had, I've actually garnered the respect of my peers, which, shocker, if you actually are appreciated for your work, you're going to want to do more. I know, it's a weird thing. Who would have thought? But yeah, that happened. It has been happening for the entire year, and I haven't made videos. I haven't done streams because, simply put, I haven't been able to afford it. The move that I had to do was out of necessity. Otherwise, I would have been homeless, straight up. And so on top of the financial insecurities, where you're not able to get full time, and you're barely making it off of the part time that you're getting. And because the schedules are so inconsistent, it's not feasible to find a second job, because you have to tell your employer when they're like, what is your schedule for your first job? Oh, it varies from week to week. That's not something that they want to hear. So I'm doing my best with what I can. to try to get by in the way that only I can. And it's been tough. And what also made it tough was a few months back, my dad made the move 3,000 miles away from here. And my dad has been the one constant in my family, in my life. Um, and he's at the age where he was set to retire. We knew this was coming. He had been working towards listing his house. And after 5 years, he finally did it. And 3 months ago, he completely moved away to the Cape Cod area. So my support net is gone. Besides the financial support net that I had with other secondary income, that went away in about May or June. My actual feasible support net is gone. So basically, if I want to get away from all this and pack all this up, I can't, because I don't have a car, I don't have a license, I don't have those kind of skills, and people have come and gone in my life that I would have liked to have stayed, but I'm not going to twist anybody's arm. I'm going to do what I need to do. I'm going to try to do what I can to the best of my ability. And so a lot of that kind of realization is why I've had to do a lot of internal soul searching, and I need to do what's best for me and not worry about trying to please others. So in this year, in 2019, I need to make more of an effort to make my freelancing dreams a reality. I need to save up for a new computer because my laptop that was gifted to me, which was near top of the line in 2012, which the driver support one that went away 3 years ago, that completely crapped out. So I'm gonna have to start from scratch, get another PC. I don't have $2,000 to spend on a new PC. I barely make $2,000 in a month. I can barely make the rent in the month, really. So I'm having to find other alternatives. I've been doing the best that I can with branching out into other departments with where I work, in order to try to get closer to that under 40 hours rather than sitting at the minimum of 20. So that's what I've been working on. So basically and I talked a little bit about this on my Instagram feed. You can get my raw thoughts on my Instagram feed if you really want to. If this is just a complete bore to you, that's fine too. I mentioned on there that I really want to take this year to make my freelance goals a reality. So once I decide to finally get a computer, first things I want to try to do is I mean, they have these avenues, and then I have what my long-term goals and realities are, which I'll get to in a second. Voice acting. Voice acting might be fun. I was very fortunate enough that I was gifted last birthday. No. Birthday of 2017. I was gifted a $300 microphone. And because I was doing my podcast work at the time, and I was looking to upgrade my equipment from that. Now that my running buddies from that are gone, I need to do something with it. Voice acting sounds like it'd be a good venture to go into. There is actually a school up in Seattle that they have classes on that. But when I've been looking into it, they usually have them on Mondays and Tuesdays. And with any of the jobs that I've had, they usually rely on this guy to fill in for those shifts on Mondays. So I rarely have Monday evenings off where I can make the commute up from Tacoma to Seattle to do that. So there's that. This Twitch streaming thing sounds like a good idea too. Oh yeah, I forget, you have to call it itchtway because again, YouTube doesn't like acknowledging that other things exist. But so there are other avenues. I mean, who knows? I might want to do streaming on here if the money's right. So you have those out there. I want to eventually get back into. I love the editing process of video editing, so I want to try to get more back into that. At the same time, like again, it's in the name. I don't know if I have to spell it out more clearly. FGC. I like fighting games. I have a lot of fighting sticks that are just floating around here. You know, it's the main thing that I want to push for in 2019. I think the overall arcing theme, if you want to just take a little chunk of a highlight and get an all-encompassing thing, if I had one overall encompassing message or resolution for 2019, it's I'm reminded of, in the immortal words of Laverne, take it from an old spectator. Life is not a spectator sport. All-time favorite Disney movie is Hunchback of Notre Dame. Close second is Mulan. Don't at me. It's so cheeky when people say that. But yeah, I am at a point in my life. I mean, I'm 33 years old. I'm at a point in my life where I am less concerned about being a consumer of products, and I want to be a distributor of products. I want to go into entrepreneurship. I want to invest in myself. Naturally, being a pro wrestling fan, we are seeing that coming to a head with this AEW thing going on right now. And AEW is proving that the most surefire bet you can make is betting on yourself. And that is a very, very important message. I mean, you can take a look at any facet in our day-to-day lives, whether you're looking at whatever you read on the news, economic situations, social, political situations, anything that you're looking at, the old ways are just not working. So we're in this new phase in our society where we need something different. The old ways of spending 15, 20, 30 years for one company so that you can maybe finally have time for yourself, that isn't working. And a lot of people are taking the gamble on themselves. I remember reading an article that like 40% of millennials that are out of work, I want to say, there was a not insignificant number of people that are in the millennial group category that are either partially or fully taken on freelance work. And that's a very interesting paradigm shift that we have in comparison to a few years ago when it was sort of a pipe dream to work from a desk or from a computer at home and work for yourself. Now it's sort of become, it's not only become normalized, it's starting to become the standard. It's starting to become the standard, and you have more and more companies that are being thrown out of the loop on that. And talking about surefire bet on yourself, The other thing that I really want to work on going into 2019 is not only financial stability so I can actually pay the bills. And maybe if I have a little bit extra on the side getting to the freelance work that I mentioned. But I think more importantly than that, I need to get myself into better physical shape. Um, and specifically, ideally, getting into wrestling shape. I want to take the effort to um, to make my dreams a reality. For those of you that don't know, in the Seattle area, there is a very thriving and very booming indie wrestling scene up there. I have been fortunate to go to, in the last 2 years, I have gone to 5 shows. Yes, five. I want to say five because it was Defy Northwest is my personal promotion of choice. If you haven't followed them, please do. They do amazing work. And the personalities that go through there are great. The bookers are absolutely wonderful. Matt Farmer is the lead owner and promoter of the event. Jim Perry is also phenomenal in there. Matt Farmer is also a almost a historian of the industry in his own right. So it's very fun to pick his brain about certain things. But yeah, talking about that paradigm shift where banking on yourself, AEW is being influential to all of us, and that influence for me started with Defy. Started with not only Defy, but Max Wrestling, who is running his promotion Without a Cause out of Everett now. That he introduced me to the booming scene that is the Seattle indie wrestling scene. I still need to check out 3-2-1 Battle. I still need to check out Project 42. But yeah, it's I don't know if I'll be able to show. Yep, repping my boy, Shane Strickland. Yeah, it's a very interesting thing that people are more banking on themselves and putting themselves out there, and that's what I need to work on is toning this up, getting to a point where that I can be marketable and that I can be worth something to somebody. And I also delved a little bit into, again, I'm basically rehashing what I've already talked about on Instagram. I highly recommend going to see that on my feed to get a more raw, rambling interpretation of whatever, what have you. But yeah, it's 2019 is going to be a very pivotal year for a lot of us. And I'm no Nostradamus. I don't have any. It's not very clear to me on what is going to be happening on the horizon. I know that what is currently happening right now is not working. So we need to change that. Whatever that means to you, you're probably right. That's probably what it means. Yeah, it's going to be a very, very interesting, very trying year. And just like old times, this has been 20 minutes. Talk about needing a rebrand. Yeah, this channel is going to be going through a lot of rebranding as soon as I can figure out the funds in the way to. Getting a PR guy or an agent guy to, or lady, I'm not going to discriminate. Agent person is a booker or a talent agent. Is there a gender neutral term for that? I'm sure I'm going to hear about it in the comments. Whoever decides to stumble on this. Yeah. Booker person. Agent person. Yeah. I think that's gonna be where I leave it off at, is letting you know that I'm not dead. Letting you know that I haven't forgotten that this is an actual thing that exists. Um, and not forgetting that I use a lot of ums, apparently. But we're gonna we're taking it one day at a time. I think that's important to a lot of people, taking it one day at a time. I don't know when I'll be updating this, but when I'm ready to, you guys will know. But again, if you want to see things on a day-by-day basis, I'm most active on my Twitter. I do also have in the link of this direct links to my Twitter, my Instagram, and my Twitch once I decide to take that live. And we'll see where this goes from here. And I need to also figure out a sign off, because I'm not good at these sign off things. You know. So do what you need to do. And I'm struggling with this just as you are. But we'll get through it together. Until then, this is Soul signing out. Have a good one. Take care.